up, y'all? It is Frostbite, and welcome to It's Frost Last War. Hey, listen, today we are going to start the introduction of probably one of the most important series that likely we will ever do on this channel. Today we're going to start talking about verses. Now, I know that a lot of videos, they come in and they'll just break down, um, they'll break down the days and this or that. But before we get into that, I'm going to take some time and I want to talk about this event. Okay, so Versus is a head-to-head competition that you will use on a regular basis. Um, it's an ongoing event. It's extremely important. The essential aspect of it is you're going to be placed into a league with around 16 other alliances. Uh, you are going to be basically fighting for these type of rewards. Uh, Weaker alliances typically are less active alliances. If you don't like the word weaker, um, are likely going to start off in the silver tier. Then you're going to have your mid-level to high-level in gold, and then you're going to have your more elite level alliances in the diamond tier. And of course, you can see that the rewards for diamond, winning diamond, whatever, is pretty nice. Um, you have tier rewards for weekly participation. You have alliance type, ranking type rewards. There's a lot of different aspects on the reward side. But essentially, the way that you stay in diamond is you have to win at least 2 out of your 4 matchups. Okay, so as you can see, we have several of these that if they don't win this week, they're going to get cut. KMX, AOU, they will be cut out of diamond. They will go back to gold next time, which is absolutely fine. It's just part of the game. So when we look at this, we have 6 different days. It starts on Monday at reset, or Sunday night reset, whatever. The start of the fresh week, whatever day that falls on for you, because I think it may be slightly different depending on what time zone you're from. For me, Versus Day 1 reset is Sunday night at 9 p.m. Because I'm in Central Standard Time in the United States. And then we've got these different days. Different days have different breakdowns. As you can see, you're going to do different things to score points. Day 1, you get 1 versus point for winning. Day 2, you get 2. Day 3, 4, 5, also 2. And then we have our Buster Day. Buster Day is basically where the 2 alliances fight each other. It's like War Day, right? So all week long we build up and we try to compete, and then we try to get stronger. There's strategic ways that you're building your account, whatever, which we've discussed briefly in other videos, but we're going to break that down even further. Please understand that the most common mistake that most players make when it comes to Versus is not truly understanding the strategy behind it. So, for example, let's just say that it's Monday and I'm on this day here, right? Now, clearly, we know that there's a lot of ways that I can get points here, and we'll go over that when I break down Day 1. And I'm going to do all of these in separate videos. I was going to try to group them together. I actually did an entire first Day 1 and Day 2 video, and then some things happened, and talking with alliance leaders and just players in general, and just kind of reading in, I was like, you know what, I really need to separate this, and I really need to break this down for my alliance, for each and every one of you that's watching this. I hope this helps you tremendously. But an inexperienced player can easily sign in on Monday. Okay, so what happens is Monday gets around and we've got all this stuff we've been saving, we've been doing all this thing, and then reset starts and everybody goes into what I like to call chaos mode. All right, the most active time every single day is going to be at reset. It's going to happen. It's just part of this game. So people get online and they go crazy. They lose their mind, they lose their game plan, and they will dump everything that they have. And don't get me wrong, while that's great, what will happen is if you go to like rankings for today, let's see at the very top, okay? And I'm not saying this is what this person did, but specifically, we've got one of our players that has 34 million points for the day, which is great for today, right? 34 mil is great. The max chest rewards is 7.2. We'll talk about that in just a second. But they did this, and let's just say that they put all of this up at the very beginning, right? And while that's great, it also is probably not the most strategic way of doing it, because number one, it shows all of your cards up front. There's no real way of planning, no surprise attacks, no coordination. Um, there's a lot of things that can go into versus, and strategy wise, especially if you're playing against another strong alliance, one that maybe had a rough week the week before, or in our case a rough few weeks. We actually had a lot of times in these leagues, especially like Diamond League, if we go back to here, as you can see, uh, we had our week ones and week twos. The very first matchups that we had um, was gods, and while we did a really good job because they had come off a week, sometimes you'll get an alliance like gods that come off of a hard week, and they'll be like, you know what, we're just going to save this week, we're going to let y'all get the win, and you just open your chest and then you take it easy, right? No big deal. And then you have which is likely why like Guns lost, or Roar Tiger, they may have gave their first win up. Lude may have, Kano, very strong alliance, Twist. These are strong alliances that likely saved, and then they spend, and then they save, and then they spend. And they do that just so that they can easily get their 2 wins, but they're not fighting for those top rewards. And then you get, us this week to where it's like week after week after week, we had a really hard opponent. And then we get Guns, and Guns, of course, is in our server. They're our number 2 alliance. They're right under us in power. While on power for power level, we're probably, extremely stronger than they are. Strategically wise, especially the fact that they've had, they're really well organized. It makes it a lot more challenging. Especially if they've had chances to save and things like that. And I don't really know what the case may be, but just know that there are strategies involved in all of these different things. So, how do you do versus? How do you know how to do it without screwing something up or without showing your cards too early? Number one, organization and discipline, right? We've talked about discipline on multiple different videos. Playing with purpose, understanding why you're doing what you're doing. These are all really key metrics, okay? So, the number one thing that I recommend all players incorporate into this game, if you are in a top alliance, all of my GXWR family, listen to me closely. Know what your real life schedule is and play accordingly. If you know for a fact that you cannot be on before reset, then before you log off, try to find out if we feel like we need to push or not. If you feel like you're one of those that might need to push, then you need to go ahead and spend all of the things you're going to spend to maximize your points for the day before you log off. Because here's the thing. Let's just say that, for example, I will use Gibber because I know Gibber's not done yet, okay? So Gibber's at 14.9 mil. Now, if Gibber was going to log off right now for the day and he knew for a fact he was not going to get on before reset, I guarantee you, if it came time for us to push and he had, let's just say, an extra 30 mil that he could put up in points, we just lost that 30 mil. All right? Now, while that might not seem like a big deal, if 25 to 30 other players are also doing the same thing, guess what, y'all? We just lost versus because we have not structurally organized based off of our own personal schedules. Okay? So, step one, know your real life schedule. Know what your expectations are. And if you think at any point in time that you see you might not make it back on, take a minute. If you have it, log on, knock your points out, and then log back off for the day. Okay? For example, tonight I've got personal plans. I already know I'm going to have to actually put up my points, right? So I think that what I need to do in this situation is before I log off for the day, before I get deep and dive deep into my plans, I'm going to find out what our game plan is. And if our game plan is going to be to push, or if our game plan is going to be to put up more points, I'm going to put up as many points as I can afford to put up, and then I'm going to log off. And I don't have to worry about not helping out my alliance for that particular day. Okay? So we have this mistake, especially on Buster Day. So when we get to Buster Day, we're going to talk about shielding. That is probably the most common mistake that alliances, especially schedule issue type people, make, is learning how to shield. I know in your mind you're thinking, "Oh, I know how to shield. I just press the shield button. Yeah, I can shield." Yeah, that's not how that works. Shielding is all about timing. It's all about preparing. For example, I'm not going to use a 12-hour shield if I know I'm not going to be able to get on in 12 hours. So if I'm sitting here on a Friday and I know I'm not very active at reset on Fridays because that's my weekend, family time, things of that nature, so I'm probably not going to pop an 8-hour shield and be like, all right, cool, I'm shielded, I've done my part, I'm good to go. I'm going to put a 24-hour shield on because I know that I'm going to be able to log on before 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., the next day. So I'm going to go ahead at 5 or 6 o'clock right before I log off if I'm going to be busy that night, and I'm going to pop that 24-hour shield because I know the next morning for coffee or on my way to work or whatever, when I get to work, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to be able to play the game. So I'll be able to pop my shield, do my fighting, whatever I'm going to do, and then I look at this timer. Y'all see this versus timer right here? It says 3 hours, 14 minutes, and 54 seconds. Well, guess what? If that sucker says 6 hours left, you can put an 8-hour shield up and you will be safe until after reset. However, if it says 12 hours left and you put an 8-hour shield up, guess what? You have left yourself 4 hours of vulnerability that you will get blasted. And you will cause your alliance to lose valuable points. Little things like that makes versus so big. What does it mean to save? There are save weeks, there are push weeks. There are save days and push days. The one thing that most players mess up in versus is the mindset of, I want to get strong now, which is fine. We all want to be stronger. We all have our resources that we're itching to spend. We all want to see what that's going to look like afterwards so that we can go attack a zombie or attack Code Boss and see if the immediate impact of that particular upgrade is going to be. However, guess what? If it's a save week, for you to do that, you have selfishly screwed your alliance. Don't do it. So, unless you are a whale, and even whales probably should do the same thing, because realistically, a whale after a save week becomes like a mega whale, and a mega whale after a save week becomes pretty much an immortal whale. I mean, we'll call it that because I don't want to call it a god. But anyways, so if we look at all of these different things, these aspects of this game, save weeks are very important. Now, what is a save week? So if we go right here to the versus tab and we hit today's theme, you see these little chests right here? This is the whole point. If you click on these chests, each chest gives you different levels of rewards. The goal in most competitive top alliances is to open this chest right here, which is the 7.2 million points chest. To do that, you're going to spend a variety of different things for specific days, which I will break down in those videos: day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and day 6. I'm going to try to push those videos out as quickly as possible so that this isn't just drug out, and I'm going to do my very best to make that happen as quickly as possible. But if it's a save week and it's Hero Day, oh, Hero Day is the one day that is the hardest to save because everybody wants to go crazy on Hero Day. But if your alliance says, hey guys, we need to hit 7.2 today and hold, hit 7.2 and hold. That means you don't go over here and click on this and you click on that and you don't dump all of your hero XP and all of your shards and all of your blue shards and all of your other stuff and all of your skill medals. You don't dump every bit of that just so you can have an instant power up briefly. Here's the reality check. Your power level is going to be the same whether you spend it today or you wait and you spend it all next week. It's still going to catch up. Will you win less battles? Probably not. Realistically, you might have one player that is around your average that didn't have a save week that might slightly get the edge on you, or maybe you've been beating that player and they might actually beat you back and forth or something for that next week, and y'all are going, tit for tat. But realistically, are they just going to soar above you? No, they're not going to do that. All right, unless they've spent a ungodly amount of money, they are not going to just hurdle you. It's not going to be a setback. It is just a strategic move, because when you face a strong alliance that's been saving and you didn't save, you have now hurt yourself and your alliance. So what does that mean? For example, today, or let's stick with Hero Day. Okay, what I would do is I would go over here and I look at my hero tab, and I've got 316 of these shards. All right, I've got 263 of the hero recruit tickets. I've got 149,000 skill medals, and then I have 4.7 G, even though I still got 2 days to build that up. Probably be closer to 5.5, 6 before I'm done. But I have those right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to click here. I'm going to click over here and I'm going to hit go, and I'm going to hit promote. And I'm going to promote some of these Wall of Honors that I've earned. And then I'm going to go and I'm only going to do it one at a time, and I'm going to check. And the second that I hit 7.2, I'm done. Because save weeks aren't about winning. It's about saving. Okay? So if your alliance tells you to save, it's time to save. Hit your 7.2 and be done. Now, let me talk to those who push pretty much everything they have to hit the 7.2. If you're a player that has to go all out to hit 7.2, a save week for you typically might also mean to decrease your chest level. If it takes everything you have week to week, all of your speed ups, all of your shards to hit your 7.2, then on a save week, go down a box. Aim for the 3.6. Get your 3.6 and save. The next week, you're going to put up twice as much as you normally would do. That's going to help during a push. So make sure you understand that when you're saving, if you're hitting 7.2 easily, and typically you're going over 20 to 30 million a day, hit your 7.2 comfortably, bow out, wait for the next week. If not, drop your chest level and do what you can. The rewards are still good, but it's better to get the we won the diamond tier award and all this than it is something else. So we want to make sure that we're being smart, we're being strategic in all of those aspects. All right. The only other thing that I really want to talk about in this video in terms of strategy is really honing in on communication. All right, everything's about timing, capital buffs, things like that, which we're going to talk about different capital buffs and how you can speed stuff up. Timing matters. All right. It's always important for you to try to be on at reset or right before reset. If you can, 15, 20 minutes or so before reset, it's a great way to look. But let's say that you are making a push. All right. Don't show your cards too early. Watch this timer. Go to this screen right here. Closer to reset, the ones that are online, they will sit there and they will watch this screen. They will prepare themselves for the push. So let's just say, for instance, if today was Hero Day or Monday, or we were going to do a last second push. Now, obviously, I've got all of these resources right here that are not already ready to go. Okay, these are sitting in an inventory stock. If I go over here, I've only got 1.3 actually ready, but I've got 3.4 that's available. Okay, so if I go right here and let's just say I'm gonna start doing this, I got 3.4 ready to go, excuse me, and 1 point something available. All right, so if I'm fixing to dump in everything I have last second, the first step I need to do is I need to come over here and I need to click this and I need to hit use. Now I'm not gonna do all of them, even though I'm disciplined enough that I'm not gonna touch them. But then I would click use again, I'd click there and I'd click use again. Okay, what that would do is then all I have to do is go back right here, wait. I see that they start pushing. Oh my gosh, now they've tied us up. Oh crap, we've got 2 to 3 minutes left, and now they've slightly taken a lead. They're pushing hard, whatever it may be. And then when it gets down to that 2-minute mark is when I really start to look at the score. All right. If we're feeling like that we have a really good chance and we've already made the the leadership's already said, hey, we're going all out. If we lose, we lose, but we're going to give it everything we have. I'm going to wait until that's as close to about a minute as possible. I'm gonna probably start about a minute. And I'm going to see how we are. Now, if they put up an ungodly amount of points, there's a good chance that I'm going to hold because I already know. I know enough about what we typically would do, following the stats week to week of what our alliances is capable of, knowing what we did the weeks before. But if I feel like there's a chance, brother, I'm fixing to go right here in the last 60 seconds, and I'm going to dump every single thing that I can into these heroes, and I'm going to boost my points up as fast as possible, along with the other hopefully 40 or 50 people that's online and active. And then at the end of the day, our best effort is going to be the results, win or lose. So just keep that in mind. These are just little tricks and things like that. Of course, I'm going to break it down on the other videos, but pay attention. Pay attention to these announcements. Your leadership should be talking. They should be saying, "Hey, we're doing this. Hey, y'all expect for a last minute push. Hey, we might do this today, but we're not going to use this." And if your leadership tells y'all that not to push, don't push. Okay? And it's I can't stress enough how important it is to work as a team. This is one thing that one aspect of the game that requires complete team effort. A single person cannot solely carry, and if we have a save week and 40 of us hit our 7.2 and stop, and then there's 20 players that throw up 80 million points on a single day, well, that player has just exhausted our statistical eggs, because that 80 million points could have been put up the next week when we actually needed it, not on a week when we already had the win in the bag. So, just keep in mind that we've got to be smart in that. So that is the kind of basics video of Versus. Like I said, I am going to fully break this down. I'm probably going to forget a few things. I'm going to do my very best not to. But until then, y'all, get ready for versus day one. Versus day one video is going to be radar training. We will get into that into great detail. Hopefully it'll be a great video for you to get involved in. With that being said, y'all, help me release this content for everybody. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all of those things. And as always, remember, till next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, stay frosty.